The Philippine Navy's new forward operating base is now operational on strategic Batanes Island near Taiwan. Manila activated a new military base this week in the Luzon Strait, in a move that the Philippine military claims will support the country's defense and surveillance efforts in the strategic waterway, 120 miles south of Taiwan. The Armed Forces of the Philippines Northern Luzon Command commissioned a forward operating base in Mahatao on Batan, one of several small islands that make up the country's northernmost province of Batanes. Located in the middle of the Luzon Strait, Manila has recognized the island chain's strategic value in recent years, amid the country's tensions with Beijing and the potential of a Chinese invasion of Taiwan. The Mahatao Forward Operating Base will serve as a platform for territorial defense, maritime domain awareness, and humanitarian assistance and disaster response operations. Its location highlights the strategic importance of Batanes as the nation's northernmost frontier. Compared to other outposts scattered across the province, the new Mahatao Forward Operating Base is the largest development from the Armed Forces of the Philippines to be constructed in the region to date. Northern Luzon Command called the base a gateway for defense and disaster relief for Batanes. Escalating tensions between China and Taiwan have forced the United States and its ally the Philippines, whose northernmost point province of Batanes, which is less than 100 miles from Taiwan, to intensify its focus on a potential cross-strait conflict. The Philippines, with the support of the United States, is looking to bolster its military capability and strengthen its territorial defenses, specifically northern Luzon, more particularly in Batanes Group of Island, near Taiwan. Is the United States funded this project? The newly inaugurated forward operating base in Batanes was financed by the Armed Forces of the Philippines, AFP, leveraging Philippine national funds. While the United States has provided substantial funding for other base projects under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, the newest and biggest forward operating base in Batanes was developed by the Philippines as a national defense initiative. Unlike EDCA sites that receive direct U.S. funding for upgrades, the Mahatao base is a Philippine-led project aimed at securing its northern maritime frontier. The development is part of the Philippine government's shift toward external defense. According to military officials, the base provides a strategic foothold for the AFP to project its presence and secure its maritime domain. Philippine Marines, redeployed from the war-torn southern provinces in 2022, have been sent across Batanes at select outposts for maritime domain awareness duties. One of these outposts is on the northernmost Philippine island of Mavulas, located just 88 miles from the southern tip of Taiwan. Meanwhile, Beijing has stepped up its naval presence in the first island chain, sending Coast Guard cutters and aircraft carrier strike groups through the choke point, which in turn has drawn concern from Manila. Lying between Taiwan and Luzon, Luzon Strait connects the South China Sea and Pacific Ocean. Luzon Strait is one of the main shipping routes, and many submarine communication cables pass through the body of water. Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, General Romeo Bronner, told troops based in the region to plan for actions in case there is an invasion of Taiwan in April. Bronner further reiterated Manila's policy regarding a potential conflict between Beijing and Taipei, claiming the Philippines would inevitably become involved in a war between the two. Manila also stressed this possibility, stating that war over Taiwan will drag the Philippines kicking and screaming into the conflict due to the country's proximity to the area of hostilities. Philippine allies, particularly the United States and Australia, have joined war games in recent years to simulate the defense of Batanes from external threats. U.S. and Philippine planners shifted activities to the country's northern provinces in the latest editions of the Balikatan series of military exercises. These exercises include maritime key terrain security operation drills, which have seen the deployment of advanced sensors, anti-ship missiles and marines across the Batanes to deny and threaten adversarial vessels. Northern Luzon and Batanes have also seen a marked increase of advanced American missile deployments to support these exercises. These include high-mobility artillery rocket systems, Navy Marine Expeditionary Ship Interdiction Systems and mid-range capability launchers from the U.S. Marine Corps and Army. The deployments routinely draw criticism from Beijing, with China's Ministry of National Defense claiming the missiles disrupt regional peace and stability. Why is Batanes, the Philippines' northernmost island, matters on U.S. Indo-Pacific strategy in countering against China's growing threats? The primary reason for Batanes' strategic importance is its position in the Luzon Strait, the sea lane that separates Taiwan from the main island of Luzon in the Philippines. Batanes is critical to U.S. strategy in the Indo-Pacific because its location in the Luzon Strait, a major maritime choke point, that will allow for the monitoring and potential interdiction of Chinese military movements, especially in a conflict over Taiwan. The U.S. has deepened military cooperation with its ally, the Philippines, to use the islands as a strategic asset to counter Chinese aggression and project power in the region. The Bashi Channel, a part of the Luzon Strait, is a critical maritime passage that Chinese naval and air forces must use to access the wider Pacific Ocean. From Batanes, the U.S. and its allies can monitor, and if necessary, deny, Chinese naval forces access to the Western Pacific. This effectively helps enforce the First Island Chain strategy, which aims to contain China's naval power. In the event of a Chinese invasion of Taiwan, control of the Luzon Strait would be vital for China to project power, and for the U.S. and its allies to defend the island. Batanes would provide a forward operating base to project force and deny the area to adversaries. In recent years, the U.S. and the Philippines have significantly increased their military engagements centered on Batanes. The Philippines' northernmost island has become a key training ground for U.S. and Philippine military forces during the annual Batan exercises. During the 2025 exercises, for example, they deployed the Navy Marine Expeditionary Ship Interdiction System Nemesis on Batan Island to practice anti-ship operations. The two nations have been constructing joint facilities in the Batanes province, such as an emergency warehouse on Itbayat. While framed for humanitarian and disaster relief, this infrastructure also has clear strategic military utility. Now, the Philippines recently opened a forward operating base in Mahatao, Batanes, to allow for closer monitoring of the Luzon Strait. The U.S. has provided support for this and other military enhancements in the area. U.S. and Philippine forces are contributing to the new defense strategy with an obvious focus on Taiwan. Within the last few months, the two countries have been constructing a joint facility on Itbayat in the Batanes province to counter China's military presence in the area. It will reportedly house emergency equipment and provisions. The U.S. Army has referred to the facility as a weatherproof warehouse for disasters that may store equipment and supplies not only for natural disasters but war, as well. In the past 2 years, Washington and Manila held combat exercises on the islands in the Batanes, designed to defend them from attack. The fact that some of these exercises were integrated into the annual United States-Philippines Batan exercise is also significant because it demonstratively mainstreams the alliance's attention on Taiwan-related threats. Manila's newfound attention on Taiwan is likely to have several significant implications. For one, Washington and Manila will now have to collaboratively address another security threat beyond Beijing's rising assertiveness within the Philippines' EEZ in the South China Sea. Beyond their recent Taiwan-focused activities, this could mean that the U.S. military will seek additional force posture and presence options that leverage the Philippines' unique geographic advantages. It could result, for example, in U.S. access to additional bases, particularly in the country's north, and further alliance work on enhancing force interoperability through joint military drills and other activities. The increased military focus on Batanes sends a clear signal to Beijing and serves to counter China's own growing presence in the region. The deployment of advanced weapons systems and enhanced military presence in Batanes is intended to deter Chinese military aggression in the region. China has conducted its own air and sea exercises in the Luzon Strait and has recently sent Coast Guard cutters near Batanes, actions that Manila and Washington are closely monitoring. By assisting the Philippines in bolstering its northern defenses, the U.S. strengthens its alliance and enhances the Philippines' ability to protect its own maritime domain. This counters China's efforts to intimidate and coerce its neighbors, especially over territorial disputes in the South China Sea.